Oh, welcome to the rat hole. It's the Backpedalers podcast. I'm Jeremy,
I'm Dylan.
and I don't know what we're doing this episode.
We're going to talk about, I guess, friends, talk about school.
I don't know. Can we talk about your shit brother?
My shit brother? My brother's good.
He's a gem. I will say that.
He's something special, at least. Special is a good keyword, but what story do you want me to tell?
No, well, let's talk about school first.
Okay. What
Um,
about school, then?
oh, what a day. Your Tuesday treadmill talks came up.
Yeah.
People were confused. They seemed to be amused.
We got I saw only likes. There's a good one. And no one rioted when you released the episode, and it wasn't you.
Well, I mean, I came in at the end. I think I kept the peace there.
It would have fallen apart without you.
Oh, yeah. That's the story of everything, you know? That's why the Legends podcast worked. Because John Sadler, that shitty co-host I had, he really doesn't like doing them. He doesn't like showing up to record at all.
How many episodes have you had?
20.
20, okay. That's the number I had.
Yeah, and so we have the Backpedalers podcast now. So let's get into it. Trying to enter my piece of art into an art gallery at school, which I don't know if I'm going to make the cutoff or not.
You never ended up showing me that. You were like, let me load it up on my phone, and I went to the bathroom, and then you didn't have it when I came back.
I'll have a print up of it. I have one here you can take a look at.
Okay, bring it home.
I think it's pretty good.
Put it up on my wall.
No, my parents called dibs on that.
Okay. I'll print another one. I'll remake it. Remaster.
It'll be a terrible, like, old printer.
I'll bootleg it. I'll put in a different kind of art style.
Bootleg it.
Yeah, I'm gonna make the same thing, just kind of off memory. Change the art style a little bit. Maybe make it a little more vintage, a little more modern. You know.
It's pretty fucking modern. You'd have to make it more vintage.
It's gonna be good. It's gonna be like even more minimalist than I'm sure it is. It's gonna be with only basic shapes and in 8-bit colors, but I'm gonna use some great dithering effects, and then I'm gonna put it in the art gallery, and it's gonna win.
I don't know if it's a competition. I think it's just for the sake of showing
Well,
art.
it's gonna win regardless. I mean, they're gonna show it up. I'm gonna come in there at least with a little ribbon that says first prize. And I'll put it up there.
You bought it at the Dollar Tree?
Yeah, I bought it at the Dollar Tree. I'm just gonna buy a painting at the Dollar Tree, put it up, see what happens.
Show sponsor the Dollar Tree.
They're gonna go mad.
Pin us $1.
Sponsored by the Dollar Tree.
Obviously. Well, we have to have a sponsor because Comcast sponsors the Legends podcast.
Is that the joke going on there?
Yeah, because Dylan, he was talking about Comcast or sponsor, and then his Comcast internet cut out.
That's awesome.
And so I had to lone wolf it until he reconnected.
Oh my god.
It was a live stream.
Oh, it was live streaming. Okay.
It was pretty humorous. Yeah, that's the main thing going on. School sucks. School's taking forever.
But every week has been a little slower. All I'm doing is my 2 classes. I can't wait until next semester because I got 3 classes going on. It's from around 9 to noon. So the classes are just back to back to back, and it will actually give me time to try to get some more hours and some more sleep in.
3. I have 5.
But yeah, I'm trying to get a second job. I had 6 classes for like 3 or 4 semesters in a row, but I didn't have a job. And as soon as I got a job, I was like, oh my god, I gotta drop some of my classes.
Yeah.
Money's a little more important than having full-time credits.
I just do both. And it sucks, usually.
Hell yeah.
Like, right now, because of where I'm stationed at my terrible job, that I won't name right now until I leave that job, it's just not trustworthy. So, like, if I have a paper, I can't take my laptop.
True.
There is no, like, break room, technically, at all.
Yeah.
So, I have to keep my stuff in my car, which is always sketchy.
Yeah, especially here.
Especially where I...
By here, I mean, there.
there. Yeah, it's bad. It's really, really awful. And the thing is, like, my boss claimed that I begged for that position,
Sure.
which is straight up a lie.
I'm sure you did.
No, God, no. I asked for it one time because my supervisor at the time was getting me in trouble for his stupid crap, and I got sick of it, and I straight up told them, like, it's his fault, and if you don't really do something about this and actually, do your job, then I'm just going to leave, and it'll be your problem. And so, like, months later, after they got rid of him, they transferred me. And it's terrible.
That's terrific.
It's so awful. And I went job hunting yesterday. I took the day off of work and went job hunting to a few places in Chico. Not too bad. That's like the city for our county.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
It's one of the 2 cities in our county. Everything else is, I believe it's one of the only 2, right? Everything else is either census-designated place, or it's just a town.
Yeah.
Like Sterling City and its population of 100.
Oh, that's a gem of a place.
God, it's a fucking disaster.
It's
one of the ugliest places you can go to.
It's so weird. Did I tell you about the time I got lost up there?
How'd you get lost?
We had a...
It's like 18 square miles, isn't it?
We had a pickup up there, and it was above it.
Yeah?
We got lost and, like, ended up, I think, at Snag Creek or something.
I have no idea where that is.
Exactly. You don't intend to go to Snag Creek because you'll get stuck.
You'll get snagged, dude.
Dude, I've never seen... the 2 times I've been to Snag Creek, I've never seen so many frogs in my life.
That's
you
awesome.
Step in the mud, and you sink, and all these frogs come out.
That's awesome.
It's so weird. And, yeah.
People live there?
No one lives by... I think there may be a couple, like, homeless encampments
Sterling City's not a city.
It's not.
It was named, from fucking the classic Wikipedia research, it was named from God, I'm probably going to get the city or the state wrong. It was either, I think it was Ohio. Someone came over here, and the quote-unquote city was founded just because it was near a railroad, and it's just a heavy wood. And they were like, all right, well, this is right in the forest. We'll make a little town here so we can haul off lumber to the train. And while thinking of a name for it, he was like, well, I believe he had some sort of brewing company. And he was like, well, our boiler's brand is Sterling, so we'll call it Sterling City, which is the most embarrassing name for a city. It's from an out-of-state person, came to your state, building a city for the purpose of lumber while he's a brewer, and he names you after your boiler.
God. But do they even... I know there's a lumber mill somewhere up there.
Yeah, there's still a lumber mill.
Is it in Sterling City, or is it above it?
It's either in or right above it. I'm not sure.
Because there's things above Sterling City, too.
It's way too small of a... town's not the right word. It's way too small of a place to know if it's something's actually inside of it or not.
Well, there's 2... Because there's Toad Towns either above it or right below it.
I don't know.
And then it's in Skip, which don't ever go there. Or if you go there, because now it's paved all the way up to Quincy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they paved it. I don't know why. No one goes up that way. Oh, they paved it because of the fires back in 08.
Right,
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Ooh.
I couldn't forget the fires.
You get evacuated too?
We didn't get evacuated, but we probably should have been.
I got evacuated, and I lived here.
If you look up,
not at this house.
If you look up Paradise, California, and I think it gives you the Wikipedia little 3-tab things. It gives you the first tab, which is just general information. Then the second tab is history, and then the only one of 2 bullets is the Quincy fires. And it's here's the 2008 Quincy fires, and it's 2010. There's also these fires. Check that out. And that's pretty much all we have.
2008 was a bad year.
We had monster fires. I remember
me personally, in my personal life, it was a bad year because my dad got hit on his motorcycle and broke his leg. That was? Yeah, right over by where I work, too. Across this, when I work in Paradise, where I work here, at the goods store. That doesn't do well financially. But, he got hit across by where the pharmacy used to be.
What pharmacy?
Cobblestone
Pharmacy.
Which is,
right.
He retired, I guess? I don't know. Screwed up everyone's prescriptions.
We have so many tiny little businesses that are constantly coming in and out that I don't know what's still around and I don't know what's leaving, Yeah.
But, then we got evacuated. We had to move the cats.
I remember waking up that day. It was when Jeremy and I, my brother Jeremy and I, he's 11 months younger. Not my. Okay, this will start.
He's your stepbrother,
has to become,
technically.
Yeah, he's my father married his mother, but we look alike enough to the point where when we say, "Oh yeah, we're brothers," they're like, "Oh, I can see it."
And what do you mean by they look alike enough? They have similar hair. If it's long.
We have pretty similar hair. It grows out kind of the same way. We have different eye colors. Our facial structures very different, pretty much. Anyways,
yeah,
we look sort of alike, and we used to be around the same height. And now,
and he's your sister Kaya's brother, your stepson, who I met first.
Yeah, most people met Kaya first. Most people either met Kaya or they met Jade, then Kaya, and then Jeremy. But they've heard 1,000 stories about Jeremy before even meeting him. So they hate him before they meet him.
Not true.
Really?
No.
You didn't?
Because Kaya never talked about him.
Kaya never did, but when they're in the same room, with Jade and Kaya in the same room, it would always be
Because I've never met Jade.
It would always come down. You haven't met Jade still?
Oh, no.
That's weird.
I've only met Kaya and Jeremy.
He's tiny. I love him, but he's a cunt. He's great in his own ways.
He's a gem.
But yeah, I remember waking up. It was obviously it was in 8th grade. It was 2008, so we're 12 or 13. Well, he's 11 or 12. I'm 12 or 13. His birthday's 1 month and 1 day before mine, so it's impossible to forget his birthday. And I wake up and I'm like, Jeremy. It's not in the middle of the night, or not at 6 a.m. or 5 a.m. or something it's 7, the sun's out. I'm like, Jeremy, what the fuck's going on? Because I woke up and everything is just this burning yellow color. I'm like, oh, what the fuck's going on? And I was like, Jeremy, is the room yellow? And he's like, the room's yellow. What the fuck's going on? I'm like, okay, I thought I was going blind or something. And then we look out the window, and there was nothing but the thickest just yellow smoke in every patch of the sky that you can look. And I'm like, oh, there is a giant fire going on somewhere. And it was all throughout the entire valley, just stretching on for fucking miles and miles and miles across towns in pretty much every direction. It basically made just this giant ring of fire around half of our county.
It was bad. Well, it started with the Humboldt fire.
Yeah.
Earlier in summer.
That started with someone throwing up a cigarette out their window, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
And they went to jail. They figured out who it was, I think.
Yeah, they did.
Threw him in jail.
They threw out the cigarette in an area where there's only the driest, tallest grasses.
Which is right around where we go to school now.
Yeah.
Which looks nice at this time of year. It looks nice for, I think, 2 months.
Pretty much.
If we have a good rain. Because last year, it looked terrible all year.
Yeah.
Because of the drought.
That's because we've always been in a state of drought, fire, and flood. All going at the same time. It's pretty nice this year. I'm so glad.
Although it did flood. Orville almost flooded. Which was...
Almost flooded. It did flood.
Well, part of it flooded. The town itself...
Yeah, we waited until the moment the lake was flooding, and then we went, okay, now we'll use the emergency spillway, who our fucking town's governor has never put any sort of financial use into, because it's what was it, 48, 68 years, something like that, since its development. Never been used once.
It wasn't made properly on top of that.
Yeah, and then and we're oh, it's in a state of disrepair. There's holes in it. It's rusting.
Well, they didn't put any rebar in it.
Exactly, it's just breaking apart this old, very, very cheap, very quickly constructed quote-unquote emergency spillway. We didn't do any repairs on the normal spillway. and we didn't do any repairs on the emergency spillway, and it was in a constant state of rising, like constantly rising. Like my teacher was talking about it, and he's like, "Yeah, judging by this, like in 2 days there should be a flood, and they're just now starting to work on it. I talked about this like 3 weeks ago," and we're like, "Yeah, if only they would do something about it." And so obviously, emergency spillway, it kind of worked. It got the water out of there. It basically did its job.
Yeah, it was.
School was Orville for everywhere was evacuated because
But the school wouldn't have flooded, in my opinion.
Yeah, school wouldn't have flooded, but
it's up enough on a hill.
The road
would take a long time.
Yeah, it's like we're like 600 feet, something like that. I remember looking it up. We're like at least 600 feet above Lake Orville, where we are at Butte College, but the roadways, especially for people coming around the Reading area, the roadways would have been downed with water, depending on what could have happened. So they're like, all right, well, I guess we'll evacuate school so that like 2/3 of our population in the school doesn't suddenly get far behind and have no excuse for it.
Oh yeah, that was bad. But like back to the fires. So we had the Humboldt fire that was a pain in the ass. Then we had you called it the Quincy fire. They also called it the lightning fires.
I've never heard it called the lightning fires.
Because it was strikes of lightning struck.
Yeah,
I was up near where you live actually when it happened. I was hanging out with my good friend Willie, which will be plenty of stories.
Where I live now, or where I lived?
Where you lived in Magalia.
Okay, yeah.
And he back when he lived up there, and we went out
Willie
early.
Hunsaker?
Yeah.
I gotta hear his stories.
There's.
I just knew his name basically. Anyways.
Yeah. So he and I, because when I'd spend the night there, we'd get up real early because both of us could get up really early.
Yeah.
And we would go out to Dahlia's, which is a local donut shop, and we worked out there. And I thought it was.
You worked out there?
No, I
walked out there.
Okay. Out there. I
was like, what's your problem?
No, we walked out there, and at first I thought, wow, that's a lot of fog. And then I smelled it. I took like a deep sniff.
The fog smells real nasty.
And I'm like, ooh, something's burning. And we just continued walking.
Because with how much people around here will just start like fires, leave fires in their backyards and front yards, and every single person around this area has a fireplace. And even if it's like 60 degrees out there, they're like, oh, it's freezing. I'm going to start a fire.
It's so annoying. But we were walking, and we used to cut through the golf course.
Yeah.
Before they put a house in where we used to cut.
I remember that, yeah.
That was terrible. I was angry.
Fucked everyone. Fucked everyone over.
We still went through their yard later, but spoilers.
Spoilers.
It may have been up. They may have been building the house at the time. I don't know. It was near the end of when we used to commute through there.
Yeah.
And we walked through the golf course, and there's all these old men playing golf out and then like hacking up a lung and stuff. And I'm like, oh, well, why are you having your little golf outing when it's like this? And we get to Dahlia's, and they're like, yeah, there's a big fire up above us. And I'm like, oh boy. So my mom called in like a panic a couple hours later, and then I went home, and we got evacuated, which was annoying. And Dad had a broken leg.
Yeah, this is definitely a place to be evacuated.
Well, no, it wasn't here. I lived up by the Ponderosa Elementary at the time.
Okay. Oh, around there.
Oh,
okay.
no. That's a whole nother story for another day.
Yeah, okay.
When that happened.
I was mixing up my fires.
Yeah. That was last
That's
summer.
all we're known for. It's gone for the wind and fire.
It's so bad. But, after we got back, we started doing a kitchen remodel. That was the kitchen remodel from hell.
All right.
It started out, my mom walked into a piece of metal and severed several tendons in her foot.
Oh, shit, you told me about that. That was crazy.
Yeah. So then I had 2 crippled parents.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to go to school, and when I get home from school, I had to wash all the dishes in the bathtub because we didn't have a dishwasher.
Because kitchen remodel.
The kitchen remodel went an additional 2 months longer than it was supposed to.
Yeah, not much pisses you off more than doing something where it's not meant to be done.
Man, It was bad. My sister ended up doing all the laundry, which the washing machine was out in the backyard. It was attached. And so was the dryer, but they were out in the backyard, so she had to go outside and do the laundry. Oh, it was awful, and it was a bad year at school. Yeah.
Every year's a bad year at school.
Oh no, in particular, that was one of the worst years I ever had of public school.
If we start mentioning school, this will be the entire podcast.
Yeah, well, we won't.
So we'll finish this before we go on a tangent about school.
So that was like 2008 was like one of the worst years of my life.
It was a shit year, yeah.
It was bad, but anyway,
that's the year we lost the house in Magalia, and we had to move to Paradise because the housing market fucking crashed, and we lost our fucking house because we couldn't pay the sudden, like, oh, you gotta pay $100,000 because of this and this now. We're like, well, that's terrific. And so we're out of money, you know. That was fun.
Is that the house I'm thinking of?
On Zuckerman?
With the Jeremy?
Yeah, with Jeremy kicking holes in the wall.
Let's do it. Let's talk about this story. It's one of my favorite stories Dylan's ever told me.
He laughs his fucking ass off every time. And he's busting his ass the entire story. And he will, like this, the entire story. And everyone I tell it to, they're just like, oh, that's a little strange. And he's just laughing his ass off the whole time. And, okay, so...
Okay, I try to keep composed.
Quick rundown of the house. It's just, it was a little 2-story house we had. The first story was normal. The second story was, like, under the house. It kind of, like, curved under with...
like a basement sort of thing.
Yeah, kind of like that, but that's where the master bedroom was. It was real fucking pretty house. It wasn't crazy expensive, but it was nice. Really nice. It had a fireplace, all that. Tons of property in the back. Just,
how many acres?
I'm not sure. Not big, but you know, it was dense. Like, it was small. Like you could probably look from, like, you know, to the left. There's one end. Look to the right. There's one end, minus the trees, of course, because you couldn't fucking see shit.
Well, yeah, it's up in the woods.
Heavily wooded, and there's just, you know, it's a pretty place. Just Google house by the creek, and it'll probably look something like that. And inside the house, this was between 5th grade and the end of 8th grade. So my brother, you know, until he was like 18 years old, he was like the worst fucking kid. Like, he would get he's
still pretty bad.
He's still pretty fucking bad, but at least he's like not as bad, you know? He's kind of humanized himself somewhat. He still holds the record to this day for the most detentions at Paradise High School, 40-something.
Oh, and what?
In one semester, 40-something.
In one semester?
Yeah, I'm not fucking around. He was in just about every week. Either one semester or 1 year. I don't remember. One of the two. Like, at least twice a month, like, on average, he would get into fucking... twice a month. Probably about twice a week, probably. He would get into trouble. Like, he fucking spit on a kid. Or, like... And then he'd have other moments where, like, he saw a guy making fun of, like, this, one of the mentally challenged girls, and he went over and he just pelted him with a rock, and he, like, knocked his fucking teeth out and just beat the shit out of him.
Oh my god.
He's like, you fucking asshole, don't make fun of them. And then on another side, a girl would say, like, you're ugly. And he'd be like, you fucking bitch. He'd, like, throw a rock at her. And then he'd get in trouble for that. He's an asshole. He's a horrible, horrible child. And, but then sometimes he'd just be a normal kid, you know. Just going through his day, quiet, whatever. He's a fucking... He had some reasons for stress, like, but nothing to make it acceptable of the shit he would do. Like, he was like a movie child villain, you know. The bully, like in Dennis the Menace, that Dennis goes, oh yeah, well I'll put the speed of the spinny ride up to max, and he's just vomiting, projectile vomiting. He'd be that kid in the movie. He'd also be Dennis the Menace. So he'd be a culmination of the two, and all he gives, you know, detention. He's like, oh yeah, oh no, I gotta write 40 pages because, you know, it adds a page every time you get detention, so he'd have to write just tons of bullshit. So he just writes it giant, and Zimmerman's like, yeah, I don't care. Just get out of my fucking detention. And he was like that at home as well. We had a lot of money, so like when he'd be a problem, he'd like break something, Dad would just be like, "All right, well, I got money, you're gonna fix it." And so one particular moment, he's just being, "Whoa, the cursor got giant, dude."
I don't know how.
Whoa. Okay, he's just wiggling the cursor to make sure it doesn't fall asleep, and the mouse just like 6 times larger.
I'm not even sure how I did it.
It turned into a cursor, then it doubled in size, and each new increment was another like double in size, so it got massive real quick. Anyways, a little distraction. Jeremy, who knows why, didn't have a reason, kicked a hole in the wall by his bed. He probably got grounded by Dad. I'm guessing he tried to sneak into the pantry and get food. Like, we would sneak into the pantry, like, okay, so the setup of the house was like you walk in, and then there's to the left, doesn't matter, there's places. Directly ahead is the living room, and to the right, you'd walk, and like you take a couple steps, and you're now facing right. To your right side is is where we'd eat in the dining room, and to the left, it led into the kitchen, which then led at the end of that into the pantry room, and then if you walked on past those areas, you got to what led to our room, the bathroom to the left, right before our room, and then right before the bathroom to the right was Kaya's room. Before you walked in that little like area, there was the door that went downstairs to the master bedroom. And when you walk down there, you take about 6 or 7 steps down the stairs, and there's a little square hole in the wall that can barely accommodate a tiny child of the age of about 12. And so we'd like sneak in there as quiet as we possibly could, close the door. We'd sneak in through the pantry and then just steal a bunch of shit. And then we'd sneak in back at the other side. And we stole snacks when people were in the kitchen. They couldn't hear us. So we'd be like, "I want a soda." And we'd come in and we'd reach in and fucking snatch a soda, So he probably stole stuff. And Dad probably said like, "I knew you were stealing food." He's like, "I'm not stealing food." He's like, "Oh yeah, wanna look at the camera?" And Jeremy's like, "You don't have a camera." He's like, "Oh, really? Let's go look at it. If we go and look at the camera, you're grounded for twice as long." And he's like, "No, okay, fine. Dad didn't have a camera. I knew this." Dad tried telling me there's a camera. I'm like, "Dad, there's no camera." He's like, "Yeah, I know, but Jeremy's an idiot." I'm like, okay. I'm like, all right. And so, Jeremy probably got grounded for something like that. So he, by his bed, he just kicks a hole in the wall. By the foot of his bed. Fucking dickhole of a kid. It's probably the size of like a laptop screen, about that size hole, little larger maybe, around the edges, extends a bit.
It's a big hole.
It's a big hole. It's probably like, okay, yeah, it's about like forearm length hole, and then like half a forearm, like, width, height, whatever. And not width, it's a hole. So anyways, whenever we'd be like, I couldn't just kick Jeremy's ass. I mean, like, one time Jeremy was being especially fucking asshole, and I was like, "Jeremy, you're so fucking lucky I don't just hit you." He's like, "Well, hit me," and I was like, "I can hit him now. I'm a kid," and I fucking sock him in the face, and he just goes, just thumps on the fucking floor. And Dad saw that, he's like, "Dylan, you shouldn't do that." He's, whatever. Mom's getting mad, trying to get me in trouble. Jeremy told on Mom first, because Mom always sided with him, Dad always sided with me. And Dad was like, "Well, he said he antagonized him. He said, hit me." But which is that's not good parenting. But Dad was like, "I can't hit the fucking kid. I'll have my son hit the kid, and then I won't get him in trouble for it. And Jeremy and Dad now have a good relationship. They're really connected after this. He's like, "Dad, yeah, I was a horrible kid, but you were a fucking dick." He's like, "Yeah, that's because you're a horrible kid." And Dad was like, after like Mom and Jeremy walked away, he quoted the finale of the movie Friday. He was like whispering, he's like, "You got knocked the fuck out." And I started laughing. I was like, "Oh my god!" I was like, "That's the first thing I thought of, to be honest." And he started laughing. I was like, "That's my son." And anyway, so we're like, how can we fucking punish Jeremy? And so like I'd have friends over, like I'd have a friend like Kyle Seal or Noah Bigham would come over, just friends from middle school. Enemies of Michael. In like one particular instance, Jeremy was sleeping. Kyle's a fucking weirdo. Like he just like he goes, "Let's have moments of just super energy for like a split second." And so like he was just sitting there. We were just eating vanilla pudding, and he just like lifts up the bed for a second and just throws like as hard as he can, just vanilla pudding under Jeremy's bed. To which our cat ran out covered in vanilla pudding.
So bad.
We busted it. We didn't know the cat was under there. The cat could hardly fit in there. This cat was huge. It was a fat monster. He ran out with the pudding. We're like, oh shit! And of course, he licked it off because he's not gonna waste good pudding. Obviously, he's cleaning himself. Anyways, before someone argues, like he wasn't hungry and fat. He just made him dirty, asshole. Anyways, Jeremy was sleeping, and Kyle just had a golf ball next to him for whatever reason. And he goes, and he just like kind of motions to me, and I look over at him because I'm on the bed to the left. He's sitting on the ground in the middle. Jeremy's on the bed to the right. We're parallel, and Kyle just like arm full reared back, throws as hard as he can. He's like 4 feet away from him. You just heard the little like fucking as it like knocks off the back of his head, and you hear Jeremy crying, and he's like someone hit me. And we're like Jeremy, fucking Jeremy, go to sleep. We're like, the fuck are you talking about? He's just crying. And Kyle and I are holding our noses and mouths, trying not to laugh. And at one point, Kyle just listened like, and he's like, I knew it. And he just went to bed. He fell asleep. Forgot about the whole thing. And so, he kicks a hole in the wall. The throwing the golf ball was after the hole in the wall, where Dad made him a. Okay, finally I'll tell this story. Because it's Jeremy's favorite. I had to save it for the last of the short Jeremy feedbacks.
I don't know. There's another one that's pretty close now.
All right, we'll get to that one after this. Jeremy's got a ton of toys for whatever reason, just a fucking smorgasbord, and he like always plays with certain toys, and he will also like hit our sisters with certain toys, and we're like, what a fucking asshole. And his favorites, we only played with them for a little bit, was the stilts that our grandma gave us. I had stilts, Jeremy had stilts, and we'd always get them mixed up. And so I was like, there's a big hole in the wall. I got stilts. I wonder how long the hole reaches. And so I fucking stuffed the stilts down the wall. And it's like heavy like metal stilts. So I reach them in, I drop it, and you hear nothing, and you hear at the bottom. I'm like these stilts are gone. Like you have barely enough room to stick your head in there and then like shine a light and go, yeah, there's stilts way down at the bottom there. And so sometimes we just be like I still like I was just pissed at Jeremy. He did something to piss me off, and I was like, I can't punch him. And Jeremy's a fucking asshole right now. I want to kill him. And I look over on his bed just to fuck with them. And I see like a teddy bear. I'm like, all right, fucking great. And I grab it. And I just rip the teddy bear apart. And like beans are just spilling all over the teddy bear. I was like, I didn't expect that. Fuck, what do I do with this? I can't throw it away. And so I stuff it in the wall. That's how it started. And I cleaned up the beans and I stuffed them in the wall. I couldn't stuff this down the wall, but I had a SpongeBob toy, like a giant fucking like half the size of him, little SpongeBob like plush toy that I won at fucking San Francisco for the god expensive vending machines that just have giant toys. And Jeremy was being an ass. He like broke one of my toys. I was like, oh fuck you! And I grabbed the SpongeBob and I ripped his arms off, and he cried. We're like beginning teenagers at this point, so we're not at the age where we're like, why would we cry? He ripped the arms off a SpongeBob toy. What a fucking weirdo, Because we're still watching cartoons and shit like that, so that means a lot to us.
Oh shit!
Oh shit! Hell yeah, that's some noise.
That's probably what it sounded like when you ripped the arms off.
It was like soundless. I grabbed it. I was like, this will be hard. I went, they're gone. They're detached. And I was like, well, Jeremy was like yelling at Mom and to get me in trouble. I was like, Jeremy, remember the cartoon when he like rips his arms off and he's like eating them, the hashling and slasher, and he's yelling at me because I'm trying to pretend I didn't rip the fucking arms off his toy in a malicious intent. We stuffed like a talking Darth Vader helmet in the balls. We stuffed like I remember we just stuffed all of his shit down the wall, like his favorite toys.
Did you stuff some of his video games down the wall?
No. I was going to say that, but then I remembered I did different things. I probably stuffed like a video game down the wall or something like that. Maybe his controller. Maybe I threw a memory card down there that like had his Guitar Hero on something along those lines. And then eventually, Dad was like, "All right, Jeremy, I'm gonna teach you. I'm gonna teach you how to do drywall." And so we had him repair the drywall. of the wall, and so he has no idea all these fucking toys that are gone. But he knew a lot of the toys are missing. And I was like, Jeremy, I don't know where they are. Like, I don't give a shit. But they're in the wall. He still doesn't know about this. It's been so many years. Occasionally he'll talk about, like, remember that toy I had this? I wonder what happened to it. I'm like, yeah, I don't know, Jeremy. With the full knowledge, I just, like, broke the ears off of the, like, robo dog and tossed it down in the fucking thing. You gotta break it before you throw it down, because you're a kid. You gotta be angry as well. Oop, okay, let's wake up the laptop here. There we go. We're still live. And God, fuck, it was great. Just all that kind of shit that we would do to him. What was the one you wanted to hear? The fire. Oh shit!
I think this is the pinnacle of Jeremy's stories, though.
This was sophomore year, I believe. It was a great year for me. We the beginning's gonna sound shitty. We lost another home, so we had to move out into like this large trailer. The trailer, no, mobile home, right?
Yeah, but it had a garage.
It was sizable, outdoor garage, like a shed.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That one we built. No, not the one we built. We built one at the house on Zuckerman, and the tree fell in it 2 days later. And Dad was like, "Well, we're not fucking building a shed again." Because, we bought one of those little things that came where you buy for like $60 and it's like a sizable shed you can assemble.
Yeah, we got one like that at Lowe's at my old house, yeah.
Tree fell in it like 20 feet away from the house, just smashed down next to her. Like,
better than fall through your
We're
house.
just like, well, better than the house, I guess. With how many trees are around here, and they're all giant. Anyway, where was I? Talking about the house, new house. The big old mobile home, it designed like shit. Like, the walls would be like, they wouldn't curve, but they just kind of jut out to make like a corner and then come back, where it could just be a straight wall. Excuse me, like in between the like living room was also like connected to the kitchen, which would be a hallway with a room next to it, like no doors or anything like that. But there wasn't enough room for me in there, so they're like, well, we have a trailer. And so I had a trailer next to the house that I ran the electricity through on like a little cord. And so like, oh, this is fucking awesome. I'm like 15 years old. So like, all I'm thinking is like, dude, I can masturbate whenever I want. And, cause I had a laptop.
Buddy.
Hey buddy.
Alright. Yeah,
okay. Let the cat in. Yeah. I still had the $800 laptop. It was like brand new at this point.
Come on.
And so,
oh no, he's gonna chase Sammy.
Alright. And so I just sit there playing MapleStory and shit on there. MapleStory still wasn't cool at this point. I just wanted to play MapleStory. I couldn't. It took me 3 days to download MapleStory because even though we had fast Comcast internet, it's Comcast. So you're like, oh, trailers right outside the house. I could literally throw like a bottle through any window I wanted in the house. I don't know how that's it just shows how close I was to the house. Like, I can look out and go, like, yeah, I can actually accurately throw something through the small window of the house, So I was probably only like 20 feet away from it, something like that. Yeah, the Comcast is like, nah, that won't reach. Sorry. And so I'd be getting, kilobytes per second type download speeds. And so I was like, well, it'll be my exercise den. And anyway, fucking whatever, trailer. I lived in the trailer outside the house, and it was great. Trailer was next to the garage, and I had moved by the time Jeremy did this. But I still hung out there all the time to visit, my brother, because I still loved him, even though he was an absolute fucking shit. By this point, we're getting to the age where, we're family, and we have to love each other. And no one really, likes Jeremy. Everyone treats him like shit, and he treats everyone else like shit. One particular moment, you haven't heard the story, it's disgusting. He was jacking off terrifically one morning, jacking off one morning, and he, came on his arm, and he, walked out when I was just sitting there on my laptop, and he goes to Kai, he's like, look, and he fucking wipes it on her. And I was like, Jeremy, that is absolutely fucking disgusting.
Oh!
I didn't say anything. I was just thinking, Jeremy's really gross. And, Kai is like, dude, that's a good red line. She's fucking gagging hard because my brother just wiped his semen.
I didn't
on
know Kaya lived there at the time.
Everyone lived there, but I lived outside. It was a tiny trailer. We had like two. We had the two sisters in one room, and then like Jeremy had a room. Then like mom and dad, whoever the fuck dad was at the time. It was still my dad, married to her, because we're American, so obviously our parents got divorced at some point. it was Teresa and my father. Mm-hmm. Teresa is my stepmother.
Okay, yeah.
And dad and mom divorced when I was like 7, I think. Yeah, normal American shit. And so Jeremy has like nowhere to blow off his steam. We live pretty far away from our friends at this weird off road from like a dirt road on Paradise. I've only seen one other person who even knows the road. I don't remember the name of it. It was like something very close to the name of Yoda, which made me laugh every time it came by. It made me realize I'm not on the wrong street. And close, and that it wasn't even close. It's probably called like Herbert, and I was like, "That's Yoda," because I was fucking retard. And Jeremy, we had everything in the garage. We had what's it called? Punching bag. I can't remember what I call. You weren't there. I called it a punching bag. I couldn't remember the name of it, so I was like, "What's it called? Like a fighting bag?" And Michael laughed his ass off at me. He's like, "What's the fighting bag's called? You punch him." He's like, "A punching bag, Dylan." And I was like, "You're right. That makes a lot of logical sense." And we had that there. Piece of shit. I beat the shit of it for like 3 days straight, and the hook broke. I'm like, terrific. I guess I'll beat it up on the ground. And we had like all of our art supplies. The Kai had like hundreds of dollars of art supplies.
Oh yeah, I remember.
Tons of clothes were there. We had like photo albums, anything that couldn't fit in that tiny trailer house. So everything was out there. Priceless equipment. We had like the other cat in. We had like lawnmowers out there, shit like that. And Jeremy, Dad had specifically warned him not to do this, because for whatever reason, Jeremy wanted to do this.
Oh, or not.
Goodbye, Lacey.
No.
Lacey refuses to come in. She's just staring.
I think it's because they're supposed to all come in now, and she's just not. She'll come in once she...
Yeah.
Oh, there's Buddy, and Buddy goes under.
Once like again, under the house.
Was facing off with Sammy as
probably
fluffed out tail.
And so Jeremy's got this fascination with we have mattresses out there that we have no use for. We're eventually gonna take them to the dump. Jeremy's like, I got a better idea. I'll burn them. And so he kicked them right outside the garage, and he's just taken out in like the middle of the night when everyone's asleep and fucking set them on fire and shit like that. By when everyone's asleep, I mean dinner time, so everyone's in the house waiting for fucking Teresa's dinner. God, that sounds horrifying.
You act like it is the worst kind of food.
Yeah,
possible.
Teresa was lovely sweetheart. Oh, chewing on little grasses. Oh, he takes off.
Oh, he's wound up.
Yeah, he's totally fucking wound up right now.
Get in here.
Teresa, my stepmother, she's like very amazing woman. Just not in with the right people, Mm-hmm. Her husband's horrible. My dad's gay, so she's not good at marrying the right men.
I forgot.
Yeah, I forgot my dad's gay. Or she forgot. Yeah. Anyways, she makes great food most of the time. The only things that like I don't really like is her hash browns are like literally dripping with grease. She's just one of those people. She's like I'm not saying like those people. I'm saying like when she likes bacon, she likes black burnt, shit like that. Mm-hmm. When she wants a burger, she wants it rare. Rare? She wants it well done. When she wants hash browns, she wants it greasy and fucking potato as hell. Shit like that. Fucking dumping vegetable oil in there when she's cooking it. Shit like that. But she's an amazing woman. Like one of the sweetest women I've ever met in my life, and I should probably like call her, give her a little hello, all that shit. Last time I talked to her was her birthday, so like 4 months ago. Mm-hmm. What month are we? March?
Yeah.
We're not March, we're April.
Yeah, we're April now, yeah.
Yeah, by the time we upload this, it'll fucking be March.
The next year.
Yeah, exactly. March next year. March 2018. Anyways, fucking back to the story. God. I'm just going over the family now. Because my introductions never really happened.
Backpedaling.
Yeah, backpedaling. Ooh, wow, take 3. Jeremy decides to, when everyone's like waiting for food or eating, he's gonna burn the fucking mattresses outside. He just burns them like a little bit at a time. He sets them on fire, lays it against a fucking tree, and he just throws knives at them in the middle of the night. He's so bored that he's got he'll bring the whole triple, set things you shouldn't set on fire, throw knives at it, and just kick the shit out of it. Trying to kick it and break it and smash it against things. And at some fucking point, Jeremy's now the fire's not good enough. Gasoline, and he starts pouring gasoline on it. And unbeknownst to this fucking retard, I hope you're listening, Jeremy. I'll make you listen to this. He's dumping the gasoline, and it's like getting all inside the fucking garage as well as all over the fucking mattress. So he set the mattress on fire. He's lighting on fire, and throw knives, kicking it, ha! And he fucking starts a. That was a good red line. He starts a fire inside the garage, and he's like, aha, time to run in and get the fire extinguisher. And so, he runs inside, gets the fire extinguisher. By this point, the entire thing is up in fucking smoke. And Jeremy's never taken a fire safety course in his life, apparently. He never watched Goku's fire safety when he was a kid watching Dragon Ball. And so he walks inside the fucking garage, and so, he walks in and he can't breathe because there's fire. You cannot breathe in that fucking environment. There's no oxygen. So he walks in, he's like, and he's like, he has asthma. And so he's almost collapses because he can't fucking breathe while trying to put a fire out, the fire extinguisher. And so he's just like, Dad, the garage is on fire. I see the garage on fire. And Dad's like, what the fuck are you talking about? And so, by this point, fire extinguishers, fire, no reason to even call the fire department. It's already fucking burnt down. It's collapsed in the moment it caught fire. This thing was old, rotten inside, just fucking. So we had nothing. This was about 7 years ago. We still fucking pick on him to this day. Where Kai and Jade lived, there's a burned down garage on the way to the house, and Dad would point out and go, "Oh, looks like Jeremy moved in." And we'd start fucking busting asses off laughing. Oh god, Jeremy's fucking insane. The shit he does. Did I tell you he got arrested? Looks like
I'm not surprised.
About 3 years ago. Because, he got karma for it recently. He fucking, got arrested for hit and run because he, accidentally, rear-ended a fucking car that was, parked or some shit like that. And he was like, oh, fuck. And he just drove off. I'm like, Jeremy, you deserve that. He's like, yeah, I know I deserve it. I'm an idiot. I'm like, yeah, you fucking retard. And I'm like, well, I won't visit you in jail, but when you get out of jail, you should fucking hang out. He's like, all right. And so after he got out of jail, he fucking came and hang out.
How long was he in jail?
Not long. Is a hit and run, so 3 months or something like that.
He was in jail for 3 months.
Something like that. I think he had good behavior, so he got on a month and a half, something like that. Was not in there that long, but. And, he got off for a month in community service. They wanted to put him for 3 months.
Probably had him work at my work.
Yeah. So community service, got in working shit jobs lumber mill kind of shit, and then he ended up working at the lumber mill, and he enjoyed it. It made him fucking big muscle man, because all you do is just hurl around fucking lumber, and so he's been in this state of where do I go? Who do I be with in this fucking drift and wanderer? I'm like, Jeremy, just go to school. Fucking go on Craigslist. Find somebody. Get a place with them. And he's still like, yeah, maybe. And so I don't know what he's doing to this day. I don't know if he's in Oregon now. I don't know if he's living in Marysville. Fucking, we talk every once in a while. He'll share a video to my wall, and that's it. And I'm like, Jeremy, I don't know what state you're living in. Why don't you message me? And he messaged me. He tagged me in a post and said, hi Dylan, smiley face, and I said, hi Jeremy, love you, and he liked the comment, and that's it. That's how our conversations go. It's ridiculous. He'll just find me somewhere and say, I love you, brother, and I'm like, I love you too, Jeremy. And that's all we do. He seems retarded, but what learning disability does he have? Dyslexia? I think he's dyslexic.
I don't remember. Okay, so I must preference this with Dylan.
Preference?
Dylan always talked about the garage burning down as a joke. Like, for, like, years. Like, I've known Dylan since, like, our sophomore year. Yeah. And, like...
That's where the garage burned down?
Yeah, he's like... He'll always be like, oh, that reminds me when the garage burned down. And,
yeah,
like, we'd never continue.
We'd just be talking about something, like, we talked about something like a movie. We'd be like, oh, remember when fucking, when, like, Jason, like, insert something Jason did? I'm like, yeah, it reminds me of, like, that fire when it was burning down. It reminded me when Jeremy burned the garage down. He's like, I don't know what the fuck that means. And I'm like, yeah, Jeremy burned the garage down. He's like, oh, okay, whatever.
But, like, one day I finally, like, he was, like, serious. Like, because I was seriously, like, laughing it off. We were in, like, Best Buy a few weeks ago. And I'm like, wait, Jeremy actually burned down the garage? God, that is what that was.
Oh, my God.
And I was like, yeah, and he told me the story.
Some
and, like,
years later.
I think people stared because of how hard I laughed.
Yeah, you were laughing your ass off. like laughing how you've been laughing the whole time, just in the middle of the Best Buy.
I think it was worse there.
You're laughing hard, fucking like reared head back, ha ha ha. You know, laughing like that.
I never get that load.
Yeah.
Low.
You never get that load, dude?
Yeah, obviously.
You can get this fucking load. Anyway, he just be busting. Okay, Jeremy suddenly just leaned in, and he has this look of like. He glares and he kind of like curls his lip up and he's staring straight ahead. And he's got only disdain in his fucking eyes. And I'm like, okay, Jeremy's fucking pissed off. And I look over and there's just a cat.
Yeah, it's Lacey playing door games with me, which she's been doing this entire recording. She and Buddy have both been like...
Join hands.
Oh, that's where that went. Oh, this is from your knife. Tell that story
this is where that went.
Okay, so like, Dylan had this really terrible pocket knife that was like falling apart.
Yeah, it was stainless steel.
And he and I think it was Michael was with us.
Stainless steel, dude.
They both came over, and Dylan was like laying on my bed playing with his knife, and then he broke it and he didn't break it the first time.
Okay.
He just left it on my bedside table, and I'm like,
okay, so like this knife, I cannot explain how bad this knife would. Let's see. We tried to what was it? When I was working at Chico Sports Club. We're trying to pop off one of the little plastic lids from one of our chemicals. You know, it's just a plastic lid. It'll hurt your fucking fingers to do it, but you can do it if you like are willing to like almost rip a nail off. So we're like, it's like, all right, Dylan, do you have like a knife or something? I'm like, yeah, I have a knife. It's a piece of shit. Don't worry about it. And he goes over and he like puts the knife under, and the moment he bends it, it just goes and fucking snaps off like this,
the tip,
like a centimeter of the fucking tip. He goes, oh shit. I'm like, yeah, it's an absolute piece of shit. Like, I can literally, like, break the knife with my hand, but I don't want to get fucking shards of fake inhuman metal just all in my hand, probably fucking catch something. And, so I'm just fucking around on his bed, playing with my knife, and, like, I'm just looking, I'm like, oh my god, this knife is, like, falling apart. Like, when I try to, like, you know, pull the knife out, I could pull it out just fine, but when you have to push the thing to the side, to allow the blade to retract.
It's a fold-out knife.
Yeah. And, that whole thing is like, I can almost pull it apart. And so I'm like, Jeremy, look how big of a piece of shit this is. And I'm like showing him how broken it is. And he just hears like this snapping metal sound. And as just the one part just comes off with just me going, I'll bend it a little. And it goes, and I'm like, check this out. And I'm like swinging around like a butterfly knife and fucking, you know, hitting my fingers, not cutting anything. And eventually I just totally disassemble this knife and I just like set it down on Jeremy's table and I leave.
And it sat for a week. And like I'm like, what the hell was that? Like I didn't remember taking apart any of my knives. I didn't even remember this. And then like I'm like, oh, that's Dylan's. Oh, he won't mind if I throw it in the trash.
Not at all.
But I found a piece of it on the floor just now.
I picked it up and that's why he said, oh, that's where that went. He's referring to the piece of the knife that I fucking gave him.
That's loud.
What's that?
Yeah, it's loud. It's yellowed.
Yeah, that was yellow too.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, hell
like
yeah.
Every episode.
Oh my god. 800 service yet again. Put them on the podcast. All they heard was podcast. We should have put it on the podcast. Say like, hey, you're on the Backpedalers. Introduce yourself. State your name.
But half the time it's like a recording. like it's an automated voice.
Yeah. Oh, that could have been fucking bad.
Alright, but anyway, I have a Jeremy story.
Really?
Yeah, I only have one.
Yeah. Okay.
So Jeremy, so before I knew Dylan, I knew his sister Kaya. Kaya and I had art together. Yeah.
Kaya. That's what Kaya's super short. She's like about 5 foot, maybe a little shorter, and Jade's like 4'10". And so we call him Willow, and we call Kaya, and he fucking hates it. So sometimes I throw acorns at him, and it just pisses him off. You know. Anyways, it sounds like a joke, but we did it.
But like, after I knew Kaya, she introduced me to Jeremy, and like I never talked to him again until I was hanging out with this like girl. Like it was a couple years later, and Jeremy was there, and I'm like, oh, I remember you. You're Kaya's brother, because at the time I didn't know Dylan was related to them at all.
Yeah.
And so he's like, yeah, oh yeah, blah blah blah, and he said he was acting like just an asshole.
He's probably fucking high.
Oh no, that's what I'm getting to. So we're playing basketball or something at the middle school in Magalia.
What do you mean he's acting like an asshole?
And he's like, I don't want to play. And we're like, okay. So we started playing, and he just sat in the middle of the court. I'm like, what's your problem, Jeremy? He's like, it's time for me to get a hit. And he pulled out a pipe and put some, and had some weed, and he smoked pot right in the middle of the
That's the kind of shit he did. He's a fucking weirdo, dude.
It was like, I'm like, dude, really? Stop. Why you're like
I'm doing nothing.
You're like a small child.
I'm doing nothing to harm you.
He's taking my staple remover and cutting cardboard with it.
Okay. Sure, Jeremy.
You're doing
I bet you're gonna fucking edit sounds into it in post-editing.
No, that involves effort.
Okay. Okay, so if you hear no sounds in there, then now it's funny.
and then my girlfriend just stopped listening.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's pretty much it for this episode.
I'm a hungry boy.
I'm fucking hungry too.
Hell yeah.
Let's get some food.
Some fucking Chef Boyer D. Chef Boyer D hole. Put in my B hole.
We
gonna sign off, you fucking cunt. Okay.
So, this has been the Backpedalers podcast.
I hope you guys enjoyed.
Come back to the rat hole soon.